What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Jets in preseason here, but specifically Brad Lambert. Throughout the preseason, has been given an opportunity. He's looked good in his opportunities as a top 6 forward, but is he going to make the Winnipeg Jets? We're going to be talking about that today. It's no secret that the Jets need a second-line centerman, or are on the search for one anyway. Currently, Vlad Namestnikov is the fill-in, I would say. I don't think that's who's going to be the second-line center headed into the playoffs, especially if the Jets are competitive this season. But it did seem like they were opening the door for Brad Lambert, and it still does kind of seem like that door is open a little bit. He's still getting an audition with 2 preseason games remaining at the time of making this video. However, I'm not so sure that he takes this job at this point. Yes, he has scored some nice goals in the preseason. He's made some great plays driving to the net, and I have really liked his game. Just little things about him, right? Obviously, he's a speed demon, he's a great playmaker, but driving the net with your speed, taking the defenseman off, and, giving Nick Ehlers some more space to work with, that's very valuable. But in that game, he did get knocked off the puck quite easily. He wasn't, the toughest on the puck, and he looked like a rookie out there, and that's normal. That's totally fine, right? Like, that's kind of what I'm expecting. I'm not expecting this guy to come in and be instant, 40, 50, 60 point getter and just being elite right off the bat. I don't think that's going to be happening. That doesn't happen for really anybody in the NHL unless you're a Connor Bedard or really anybody. Go look at Steven Stamkos' numbers when he entered the league and how he struggled and everything like that. Nate McKinnon, everybody does it. And it's no different for Brad Lambert. He has weaknesses in his game, but I'm not so sure the AHL is the greatest place for him right now to be developing. I don't think he can really develop too much more in the AHL as opposed to playing, men in the NHL. At the beginning of the preseason, it really did seem like Brad was given the reins to the 2C role, but it does seem like, after that game, where he did have a goal and an assist, by the way, that it just wasn't really in the cards. It seemed like Vlad Namestnikov, as of late, has been getting the opportunities for the top 6 job anyway, and it kind of seems like Brad's on the outside looking in at the 2C position. But, we have seen him on, some of the bottom 6 lines, filling in for Adam Lowry. I don't necessarily think that's going to be happening in the regular season. Most teams in the NHL, they run 4 scoring lines, and maybe their 4th line is a little bit more of a shutdown unit, but the Jets run a scoring top 6, a 3rd line that is primarily a checking line, can add a little bit of offense, but not too much typically, or not consistently at least, that 3rd line being Niederreiter, Lowry, and Appleton last season, and then a 4th line where it is, hit or miss depending on injuries. Sometimes it's, it's good. When Namestnikov was playing with Iafallo and Barron, that line was pretty solid as a 4th line. But, sometimes, with Gustafsson, Kapari, and Iafallo, it's not as inspiring. One thing that I would love if the Jets could do is have, 3 scoring lines and then have that Adam Lowry line. I think it would go a long way, because then that would really allow you to put Brad in that 3C role. The Jets aren't going to allow him to come into the league and play, 8 or 9 minutes a night strapped with Morgan Barron and Alex Iafallo. I just don't see that happening. I'm sure they'd much rather him play, 20 minutes a night in the AHL and at least get some games in and dominate there, and that's all great and everything, but I just don't think as a 4th liner that's really the goal for Brad, right? Because that's not the position he's going to be playing in the NHL. He's going to be a top 6 scorer, playmaker. He's not going to be a bottom 6 grinder. So, as much as I would love the Jets to put him at the 3rd centerman position and develop him there, it's just really not an option if the Lowry line is your for sure 3rd line, right? As I'm sure it's going to be. I don't see that changing really anytime soon with the philosophy of this team. Even if they'd probably be better off, with 3 scoring lines and then that grind line. And you could even up the minutes. I'm not saying, take minutes or severe minutes away from Adam Lowry anyway. You can just, even out the minutes a little bit. There's no reason that Mark Scheifele and, Kyle Connor, they need, 22 a night. You can dial that back a bit. You can have Perfetti, Ehlers, and Namestnikov maybe go up against some lighter opponents, give the Lowry line some tougher minutes, stuff like that. And you can give Brad some of the easier, stuff, right? You know, he doesn't have to be up against the top line every single night. He can go out and he can play maybe some of the softer lines and have more success that way and ease him into the NHL. I think that would be the best way to go about it, but I just don't see a world where that happens right now. If Brad Lambert's going to make this Jets team, I do think it's going to be as the second line center, and that's still yet to be seen if he is going to take the job or not. But going forward here for the Jets, I do expect, as I said before, Namestnikov to open regular season with the 2C position. I do think if there's an injury really anywhere in the top 6, that Brad will be the first one called up. Lost in this is Nikita Chibrikov, who, when given an opportunity in the preseason and even in the Young Stars tournament, dominated. He looked great, and I don't know, he just really left his mark everywhere so far this preseason. Still 2 more games to go. I don't know how much he's really going to see. It really does seem like he's going to be headed to the AHL, but Chibrikov made a massive impact, more than I thought that he would heading into training camp, and I don't know. He played his ass off. If there's an injury to a winger, I would love to see him, check in immediately. That even goes for the bottom 6. Like if a Mason Appleton goes down, I would love to see Nikita Chibrikov play with Adam Lowry. Lowry's never really played with a, true goal scorer before, a guy with the speed of Chibrikov, so I think it would be pretty interesting to see how those guys would mesh. And with Nino Niederreiter standing in front of the net, making some space, you can't really go wrong there. Jets have some great options. I just don't know how many of them are going to see the first game of the season. The one surprise out of training camp, however, has been Elias Salamonson. We know how good he is. If you've been keeping track with me for the last year or so, I've been very high on Elias, and now he has an opportunity to take a spot on defense. As Heinola's down, Stanley's down, both long-term, seems like a month to 6 months, maybe more for Heinola, I'm not sure. Both had surgery, and now the Jets have a glaring hole on that bottom pairing left shot defense spot. And you might be thinking, oh yeah, Elias is a right-hand shot. Yes, he is. He did play a bit of the left side over there in the Swedish men's league, so he does know how to do it. He was begging for a spot, essentially, and it went up there, balled out in preseason, has been looking more and more comfortable every single game, looking more and more calm and back to his game, and now it does seem like he could have the inside track to playing with Colin Miller, or at least getting the look, because right now Hayden Fleury's the next guy up. That's really not too inspiring. He's looked okay in the preseason, but I don't think that he does anything necessarily better than Salamonson. I think it's, definitely worth playing Salamonson, even if it's just for the first, 8-9 games of the season. Get him into the NHL, see what he can do. Maybe he stays with the team. He's a big boy, about 6'2", over 200 pounds. He can move the puck. He's very calm, and I think he'd be a great partner with Colin Miller. Or, we even saw him a little bit with Neil Pionk in a couple of the scrimmages. So Scott or Neil not afraid to move up the lines a little bit on defense, and it'll be very interesting to see how that all works this year. But, I don't know. Surprised out of camp could be Salamonson. We've been so focused on Lambert and Chibrikov to an extent that kind of forgot about this guy until the injuries, started coming around. So we'll see what happens with him. But that's all I got today, guys. What do you guys think? Is Brad Lambert going to make the NHL club? Is Salamonson going to make the NHL club? And, just for fun, how cool is Nikita Chibrikov? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys. But yeah, leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Go Jets go. Bye-bye.